This past Friday, the United States House of Representatives got December off to a strong start by voting to expel George Santos. The House voted 311 to 114 with 8 abstentions and 2 voting present to shit-can Santos following the release of a report from the House Ethics Committee, which found that Santos had misled donors and used campaign funds to pay for personal expenses, including visits to casinos, shopping trips, and subscriptions to OnlyFans. In addition to the findings of the Ethics Committee, Santos is also currently facing 23 federal criminal charges for fraud, money laundering, identity theft, and lying to Congress. And I know what you're thinking. Members of Congress lie all the time. That can't be illegal. That's lying from Congress. This is lying to Congress. The direction of the lie makes a big difference. And in addition to all that, we've known for a year now that Santos just straight made up a huge chunk of his background that he used to sell himself to the voters of New York's 3rd Congressional District, which he now technically no longer represents. Oh, and it's not part of why he was expelled, but just by the way, the final tweet sent on his official government account the day before the vote to expel him was this transphobic bullshit here. Fuck you, George. You won't be missed. So, expelling Santos was definitely the right move, but let's not get carried away. This is only the 6th time the House has ever voted to expel a member, but this is also the 3rd attempt to expel Santos. Why was this so hard? Why did it take so long and so many tries for Congress to kick out a guy who we've known was a fraud and a crook for literally his entire tenure as an elected official? Why, after everything that has come to light about this guy over the past year, did 114 members of the House still vote to keep him? Some of them who voted against the motion to expel Santos say they did it because it was politically motivated. Everything's a witch hunt with Republicans now. They're all following the example of their leader, Mad King Donald. Anytime anyone accuses them of anything, even if the accusation is backed up by evidence discovered via thorough investigation, it's a witch hunt. It's political theater. It's a hoax. Some of those who remained on Santos' side rejected the Ethics Committee report, said it was insufficient grounds for expulsion, said, and this is my favorite, it was biased against Santos. I mean, yeah, I guess a report that contains descriptions of all the crimes he did would skew a bit negative, wouldn't it? Santos himself has made this claim as part of his defense. He said the Ethics Committee report was hyperbolic and incomplete and biased against him. And how is any of that an argument to let him off the hook? He's not denying what's in the report. He's just saying it shouldn't be such a big deal. If I gave a shit about him, I'd hope for his sake he doesn't try something like that during his criminal trial, because I'm pretty sure in court you have to either plead guilty or not guilty. Yeah, I did it, but whatever, get over it, is not an option. The report is hyperbolic, incomplete, and biased against him. It's just a terrible defense strategy that reeks of desperation. I guess if you did what you're being accused of and they've got you dead to rights, but you're too stubborn or too much of a chicken shit to just fess up to it, what else are you going to do? Yes, I stole that money and lied and defrauded those people, but you're only focusing on the negative side. What about that time I bought Girl Scout cookies even though I didn't really want them? Or when I let the other guy go first through the intersection, even though I technically had the right of way. We all do bad things and good things, right? So can I go? Just let me go. Another reason why some members of the House voted against expelling Santos was that they were worried about the precedent it would set. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said that. He said, I have reservations about it because of the precedent it would set. What precedent? It's happened before. Prior to Santos, the House voted to expel 5 members. The U.S. Senate has voted to expel 15 members throughout its history. Most of those were senators who supported the Confederacy at the start of the Civil War, so it was a long time ago, but still, that's a pretty good reason. What precedent was Johnson talking about? Then I looked up all those previous members of the House who were expelled, and I noticed something. The last time the House voted to expel someone was in July 2002. Jim Traficant, Democrat from Ohio. I remember that. The one before that was in October of 1980. Michael Myers, Democrat from Pennsylvania. I don't remember that, but I was 5 months old. Cut me some slack. The three before that were in 1862. John Bullock Clark and John William Reed of Missouri and Henry Cornelius Burnett of Kentucky. All Democrats. Every expelled member of the House of Representatives, and in fact every expelled senator except for one, has been a Democrat. Until George Santos. He is the first Republican ever to be expelled from either chamber of the United States Congress. Is that the precedent Mike Johnson has reservations about? That we'll expel our criminals too precedent that Republicans are so worried about? I know I'd think twice about it if I were them, given the current state of their party and how willing the party is to nominate unabashed liars, frauds, and thieves, and how eager the base is to elect them. If we set the bar so high that crooks are no longer welcome in the halls of Congress, why, the Republican Party will not only lose this majority, it'll never have another one. That's why it's taken so long to get rid of Santos. That's the real reason, if you ask me. The Republicans hold the majority, they run the show, and they didn't want to kick out one of their own, no matter how obviously unfit for office he is. Santos got elected under false pretenses, and that was public knowledge before he was sworn in. He never even should have been seated, let alone survived 2 votes to expel him before this one. The fact that he was allowed to assume office, let alone elected in the first place, is an embarrassment to Congress as an institution and to this entire country. It should have been an embarrassment to the Republican Party, but Republicans aren't capable of embarrassment anymore. They don't feel shame or guilt. If you find out they've done something wrong and you can prove it and you confront them with it, their response is, so what? They don't deny it. They dare you to do something about it. And the worst part is, it's not a bad strategy, because when the it in question is holding their own accountable, members of Congress are historically pretty terrible at doing something about it. 112 of the 114 votes against expelling Santos were Republicans. The other 2 were Democrats. Bobby Scott of Virginia and Nikema Williams of Georgia. I haven't seen statements from either of them about this vote as of the time I'm recording this video, but they both voted against past efforts to expel Santos as well, and they each justified their votes then by saying that the expulsion votes were premature, that the Ethics Committee report didn't actually recommend expulsion, and that Santos hasn't yet been convicted of any crime. In response to his vote against the previous attempt to expel Santos, Representative Scott said, quote, "For the sake of the institution, we must stop the cheapening of the censure and expulsion processes for political expediency." It's not the cheapening of the expulsion process that is threatening the institution, Congressman Scott. It's the fact that people like George Santos are able to sneak in, and once they're discovered, people like you aren't willing to throw them out.